All right, so I guess at the moment this is mostly for the recording, but basically I've got this track going. I started last night. I'm trying to finish out an EP, so um, I have a couple of tracks that I've made in the last few days. Um, there's sort of like a kind of deeper like techno cut, and then very like Detroit sounding, and then a house track. Um, and there's also like an ambient version of the techno track that's just the synths. Um, and yeah, so this is kind of like a fun, kind of like funky, slightly dubby, housey track with some hand percussion from the my beloved. I gotta get the OBS window so I can see this in real time. My beloved Boss DR5 right here. Yeah, I've got the main drums off the TR-8S, which is what I've been doing for this. Oh, the camera went. Okay. Gonna have to work on that. So yeah, the damn, that's a bummer. The TR-8S for the main drums has kind of been the look for this whole EP. All right, maybe I'll just give up on that camera then. Yeah, so I've been recording to cassette, but with this, basically, I have a couple of layers of synths, and I want to play one of them live. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to record the track, and there's actually some stuff I want to do in real time outside of that. So what I'm going to do is record the I'm basically going to switch from this cassette deck right here, which is an Onkyo like dual deck, one playback deck, one recording. I'm going to switch the input from there to a 4-track Tascam that I have, and then I'm going to basically record most of the track, do a live take to 2 of the 4 tracks, so that'll be one stereo recording, and then I'll have 2 more tracks on which to overdub. I'll probably just do 1 layer of overdubbing in stereo with this DX7, which you can't see because of my cameras being fucked up. Which is very disappointing because I was looking forward to moving this thing all over the place. Giving it another try right now. I feel like it's kind of helpful if you can get a... oh, there we go. Okay. Probably have to do that again multiple times during the stream, but yeah, I feel like it's helpful if you can get more of a picture of what the studio looks like. So it's my bedroom. But yeah, this is my my little keyboard rack. That's a Kawai K3 on top and the DX7 below. And then if you want to look at the setup, I got the bass line coming from the MS-20 Mini. The QI70 is a sequencer. I've been messing around with that. It's a lot of fun. I got the Blofeld, which I'm not sure. I used it pretty heavily on the other 2 tracks with like a similar patch, so I'm probably going to leave it out of this one. And then, yeah, TR-8S. The Proteus 2000 and the D110 are not in this track as of yet, but maybe will be at some point. This is my mixer, Venice F24, which I really love. Got a randomly very good deal on it. Would definitely not own that otherwise. And then this is this little effects rack with some things in it. Okay. And there goes the camera again. Feel a little bit naked just showing the whole setup. But all right. So yeah, let's take a listen to this. I haven't listened to this yet today. I just kind of powered everything on, so Yeah, so I got to change the patches, I think. The TR8S kit. Alright, not bad. So I'm just gonna like work on the mix a little bit and refamiliarize myself with this tune. Yeah. So to me, the high end is sounding a little bit like dead. So I'm gonna see if I can like find a shaker or something and put that in on the TR8S just to like wake it up a little bit. So I'm actually going to try something kind of weird that I did not foresee myself doing. Basically, the QI70 has internal sounds as well, and the sequencer is kind of limited in that basically I'm in pattern mode. You have 8 tracks in pattern mode, and they're hardwired to MIDI channels 1 through 8. So I'm using this like to sequence the TR-8S. I have all of my drums on a single MIDI track in here, but it's not that convenient. I mean, part of why I have to use the TR-8S instead of another sampler is because I can use these volume faders to bring things in and out when I'm doing the arrangement. But basically what I'm going to do on the QY70 is I'm going to go into the onboard mixer on it and turn down everything but one track so that there's like nothing, so the internal sounds aren't playing except for the one track. And I got to be careful which one I choose because they're hardwired to the gear. I think I'll probably use 5 because that is going to the JV1010, which I probably won't use. I can always copy stuff, but still. So I'm going to turn up the QY70 in the mixer now. And yeah, there we go. Let's turn that up a lot more. So now, basically the reason I'm doing this is because the QY70 has these sweet, like, built-in grooves. They call them play effects, but it's basically similar to Ableton's, like, groove engine. So I'm going to the voice section now, and I'm going to choose a drum kit. And basically I'm trying to, like, what I would really like if I had a sampler hooked up right now would be just some kind of a percussion loop from like a record, or like a sample pack or whatever, but that's kind of hard to come by right now because I don't have any samplers hooked up. So I'm going to just try and I mean, this EP I'm trying to make a little bit more like modern sounding. Not that these are going to sound particularly modern, but yeah, so these are going to be the same for every kit. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna just make do with what I have here. I think I can get a little bit higher filter. That did like nothing. Sure. So yeah, basically I'm going to use the play effects because I can get kind of a different groove going that's not going to just layer directly on top of like the hi-hat that I already have and stuff. So it's going to give it a little bit more like shuffle and space and kind of like diversity of like the groove that's going on. Yeah, so let me see if I can figure that out. This might not work, but all right. undoing that because I'm going to re-record with better, different velocity. I'm going to get that high-pitched shaker with a higher velocity because I was trying to rebalance the panning and stuff to get them to be like a more even volume, but that's not really working. The drum kit editing is kind of limited on there, so good lesson about being able to do things in different ways. Just going to record it with different velocity. All right. All right, I think that was pretty good. I'm going to go to the play effects now. Yes. So that one is Groove Template 26 called 16 Cuban. It sounds pretty good, but I'm going to try some others. This is a pretty subtle evaluation going on here, but it's important. So far, that first 16 Cuban was the best. It's a 16 Robot. This is pretty good. toggle it off and see if it's actually better. I think it's alright. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. Something I do a lot is turning shit on and off just to like see if I actually made it better. Definitely wakes up the high end. Giving a little more of that long reverb to the hi-hat. Oops. It's a little bit of the Proteus sneaking in, getting MIDI. Alright, so yeah, I was playing a few bass notes on the MS-20 because that's part of what I'm going to do during the first take. Just to kind of like keep the groove moving without like writing or adding any more like music, so to speak. Just like some bass fills to keep it interesting. So it's kind of like a dubby, groovy thing. It's probably going to be like 4 to 5 minutes, ideally, if I can keep myself under control. So I think that's all it really needs to be. I mean, this is pretty much all the elements of the track right here. So, yeah. There's going to be a little... So there's another thing I'll do is just kind of like bounce around, check out different parameters that I'm going to modulate, see if it sounds good, see if I need to like adjust the volume while I do that, or if it's going to pop out too much. So I'm can't see, but adjusting the filter cutoff on that bass is still loud. Adjusting the filter cutoff on the K3, which is doing that little chord. So I'll give myself like a couple of things to play with a track like this, so that I can keep the arrangement interesting without having to do big things with it, because this is just like a groovy kind of like just rolls for a little bit. So I think what I'm going to do now is practice just how I might start this track, and mess around a little bit while I get ready to record. And then I'll break out the 4-track. Yeah. Also going to check on this little piano line that I recorded last night that I will probably be playing myself in the overdub. Gonna make a variation of that. Can't believe I left that mic open. Gonna make a variation of the DR5 percussion pattern just because I feel like I need a variation. So that means copying the whole pattern in the QY70 from basically each pattern in there has different sections. So I'm working on the main A section now, and I'm going to go to the job menu and copy. I think it's under copy pattern. Yeah, so I'm going to copy from section main A to section main B. So if I put my cursor up in the section area, then I hit main B. Sweet. So now if I go into real-time record, what do we got here? Find the right octave. Yeah. So I'm going to just I'm basically just going to erase notes, honestly, to make like just a less complicated, less busy pattern. Because I think it's going to get annoying if it's playing like that the whole time. little bit skeptical of everything that I'm playing over there, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, maybe I'll get out the tape deck now. We'll see about that. So yeah, I gotta unhook my stereo deck. I think I've got space on the desk to put the 4-track, and yeah, I'll probably just try and do a take, and then I'll just leave it up to chance what I put on top of it at the end. Maybe it doesn't need anything, or maybe it just needs like some percussion. I don't know. All right, be right back. Yeah. Hello. Okay. Oh, there we go. Yes. All right. Sweet. It's a nice noise level coming off the tape deck. Yeah. So now I have the tape out of my mixer going into inputs 3 and 4 on this Tascam. And I'm going to grab a cassette. I'll probably just use the one that I had in the other recorder since I know it's safe to record over. Rewind that. See if anyone is actually tuned into this. Not that I would be paying particularly much attention. It's hard to kind of like do this and focus on just doing the stuff, making the music, as opposed to trying to interact with people. But I think it's kind of better if I just focus on what I'm doing. There we go. I usually run the tape forward a little bit just to make sure, because sometimes it'll start recording, but there's not actually tape going through. So yeah, let's get a level and we'll see what's going on here. This cassette deck is pretty old and dusty, so I try to be sensitive to it and kind of rotate everything and move the different controls around. Oh, that's what was going on. Okay. Yeah, I guess you can't really see, but I'm just trying to make sure I'm not hitting it too hard, because then we'll start to get distortion. But it kind of sounds good with a little bit, you know, if it's in the red a little bit. Alright, I think that should be good. Yeah, I'm gonna put some moisturizer on my hands because they're getting itchy, and that sucks. it's important to be comfortable when you're doing a take of a track. So yeah, I try not to rush in that sense. All right. Yeah. So I think I'm gonna kind of just like take this, take it pretty slow and try to just like build this track up kind of calmly. I have a couple of effect sends. There's basically a long reverb, there's a delay, a short like room reverb, and then I also have this like phaser chorus situation coming from a Boss SE50, which is a great cheap effects unit to pick up. So yeah, I'm just gonna try and like mess with that stuff and keep it really simple. And yeah, we'll just kind of see what happens. Not really a lot of elements going on in this track, so it's gonna be maybe a little bit of a challenge for me. It might take a couple takes to get it right, but I'm gonna stop talking and do it. All right, that was okay. Could have probably gotten to a couple things a little sooner, so I might do it again. I'm gonna listen back to it. Won't be able to talk while listening back to it, so I don't know. Oh. Oh yeah, no. No, I'm about to be gone. Here we go. So I took a couple notes for myself. Mostly stuff I would have remembered without listening to it, but yeah, I just wrote down open hi hat decay to very low, DR5 phaser, K3 out a couple times, and K3 forward. And these notes are just so that I can basically remember things that I wish I. These are like things I wish I had done either more often or sooner in the track, so that because I think I landed at probably 5.5 minutes with that, and I don't really think it needs to go on that long. And I also would like to get um, just as like a challenge to myself, I would like to get this done in I would like to get this take perfect so that I can, or not perfect, but like I don't want to have to cut it up. so that because then I'm just gonna overdub straight onto the other two tracks, whatever shit I'm playing on top. So yeah, I'm gonna do gonna do another take, and hopefully I can nail it this time. I also made a mistake. This the sequencer doesn't wait till the end of the phrase to switch to the next variation. When you choose a different section, it just waits till the end of the bar. So I chose to go back to section A on like after the first bar of the phrase, and instead it like sent me right back, and that's why you heard that. I don't know if anybody noticed, but there's a part where the bass line hits on the first bar again, when normally it's only every 2 bars, but this happened like 2 measures in a row. So I'm gonna try and not make that mistake next time. Yeah, and just generally try and get to those interesting things that really like switched up the groove and made it feel like something different was happening. Gonna try and like get to those parts sooner. I wonder where are these coming in. Yeah, maybe I'll put some like fun oh yeah, this could be good, like a little like I don't know, we'll see. It's hard to know where the line is sometimes with being goofy in the track. But yeah, all right. Next take. All right, I think that was the one. A couple of little things happened in there, but I don't think I mind enough to redo it. Not totally sure about some of the bass playing. And it was actually pretty sweet. I like slid the chair over and bumped into the DX, and that sounded great. So yeah, I think I'm probably pretty satisfied with that, but I'm gonna listen back to it and see. Yeah, I don't know. It's something. Um, yeah, I'm gonna listen again and keep just kind of messing around over it. See if I can come up with anything. Yeah, maybe I need something like aggressive. I might need to add a different note. I'm just playing the black keys on this track. The other tracks on this EP mostly played the white keys. Sometimes that's how you do it. All right. Yeah. That is definitely getting somewhere. Thanks, Connor. Glad you liked it. To quote Food Wars and myself. um, yeah, cool. I'm gonna do another, just you know, jam on it and see what happens. Um, yeah, yeah, I think it's getting somewhere. Maybe that could come in kind of in the second half. Uh, yeah, something like that. All right. I recorded that time, but I think it was a little too early for that because it didn't come out that great. Um, what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna take like a 5-minute break, and I do this a lot. I'll probably go downstairs, eat a snack, maybe get some more water. Actually, I think maybe I'll come back and do more of this later. But how long have I been going here? Yeah, an hour and a half. I think I'm gonna cut it for now. I may come back. Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably come back to the track later in the day. I gotta go do something at 3. So hmm. No, I'm gonna take like a 5 to 10 minute break and then come back, and I'm just gonna leave the stream running, and I'll put up a note. So yeah, thanks to everybody who's listened. I hope it's been some kind of helpful to anybody who's been with me up till this point, and I'll be back in a little bit and try and get this last takedown. Cool. All right. Where is that? There we go. I'm back. So I'm less sure now that this is going to end up being the final take, but yeah, I mean, there's a couple things. I'm going to just listen and see if I can find the things I'm thinking of. I like a lot of stuff about the arrangement on this one. I kind of don't like that thing I did with the tom in the middle, the disco tom. Oh my goodness. This 4-track needs a lot of repair work on it. Or more, it needs a cleaning. And these buttons, hard to press down sometimes. Oh, wow. Huh. I also accidentally, I overdubbed. I recorded last time just because I thought maybe it would be good or good enough. And I accidentally recorded both what was coming off the tape and my piano playing on top, which is not what I meant to do. Kind of a cool feature because then I could use the other 2 tracks for stuff, but not what I meant to do. I will say that, like, I really like, as opposed to like sitting down and figuring out what I'm doing, or like in a non-real time way, I really prefer just like doing a bunch of takes, playing to it over and over, and kind of like sussing out what to do, and how to arrange the track that way. Partly because it's a lot more fun. I like to play both keyboards and to like have under my fingers like all the arrangement stuff that I'm doing with the drum machine and with the sequencer. But I find that I think working that way, it's kind of a way of like strengthening your intuition about things and your ability to do stuff in the moment. As opposed to like having to sit back and consider and look at it on a timeline. It's taken a really long time, but I have a much better ability to like hear something a number of times and then hold the arrangement in my head and know what's going to happen next. But also you just, after you play through it a few times, you start to get an instinct for, it just gets imprinted in your memory and you can tell, you start to know, like when I'm playing the keys over this, I'm basically like jamming with myself. I jammed the arrangement and now I'm playing the keyboards over my own. All right, I can live with that. It's a lot, but I can take it. So I think right there, after that tom thing, is where I would bring in like the some kind of, I mean, basically what I'm thinking of is I need the keyboard, whatever I'm playing on top, there's a few kind of like, I'm basically using it to make this track more interesting and to give it the direction that it needs. So yeah, so what I'm going to do, I think in the first section, up until that like disco tom thing hits and the track drops back in, I'm going to use some slight, like kind of different, like not that. Like, yeah, I think it needs that. That's a B that I'm playing in there to mix it up, as opposed to just using the different combinations of black keys. So anyway, I think basically playing these types of chords, like some lower kind of moodier stuff, and using the volume fader to fade it in so that you don't get that click at the beginning, the attack, and having a lot of delay on it is going to sort of like, and using that as like a response to the K3, those little like chords. Yeah, I'm going to use it as a response to those in the first half and just kind of like fill in the space a little bit and give people a little bit of like ear candy, just something that kind of doesn't fundamentally change what the track is doing, but gives a little bit of like atmosphere and some variation, because I'm going to like mostly improvise it, so you won't really know when it's coming in. So that's going to help to mix things up in that first part of the track. Then after those toms come in, there's going to be some kind of I'm going to let those attacks happen on the keyboard, turn down the delay a little bit so it's a little bit more upfront. And that's going to sort of like, it's going to become like more of a real instrument and a real like essential component of the track and be part of the groove. And then if I keep playing this, did I turn it up, O'Shea? Okay, so this part. Yeah, so... Oh, is this the end? Fuck. Alright, so I got a little ahead of myself here. So, it's really, I think, after... Yeah, so it's after the big toms that I'm gonna go to the real what I was building to. I thought there was a third section. This goes to show how good I am at remembering arrangements. Just an aside, like something I'm very aware of is the way that your memory works. Like things are tied to certain places, so this is why often like you'll walk into a room and forget why you went in there. It's because like things like doorways trigger us into different like memory spaces kind of. So this is something that I'm kind of aware of when like, and that's part of the intention. Like when I take a break, I don't just sit at my desk and sit at like the gear. And I usually do this like every hour and a half. I will actually like walk out of the room, go downstairs, get some water, like be in a different space, let myself kind of like ruminate on the track a little bit, but in a separate area. And then when I come back, I have kind of like a fresh perspective on it, and I find that helps me get some clarity. But at the same time, it's something I'm very aware of when I'm like really in the heat of like doing takes, because I'll often do like 2 or 3 takes of a track. And I find that I keep aware of that. So when I'm doing those takes, I usually will not leave the room between 2 takes if I can avoid it, depending on how much I want to keep from the last one. But I know that if I leave the room, my head is going to be in a different space when I come back, and it's going to be harder for me to like do what I did last time, or to keep the essential elements of what I did last time. And I definitely forgot, like when I left the room, I forgot some of what I was playing on the DX7. So anyway, I was building towards the idea of there was going to be a section where I'm sort of just hitting this chord, that's just black keys without that B, which kind of makes it emotional and gives it that like softness. So I was gonna have a section without the B, that was just gonna be like start to kind of like hit this in kind of like a percussive way, and then kind of like really drive it home with the like with the chord changes. But I think I may be able to get away with just going straight to the chord changes part. Yeah, or I'll have to, do two different sections earlier on. But I'm gonna do one, I don't know, a jam or two, another run through and see if I can like, I kind of just told you like what the score is gonna be, and I'm gonna see if I can play that now. Yeah. It's just going to kind of like evolve as I go. And I'm also very aware that if I come back to this, like around 3:00, I got to go make some deliveries for Pittsburgh Restaurant Workers Aid, who you could donate to if you wanted to help restaurant workers who can't work right now. Just by the way. But yeah, I'm going to go run these deliveries, and that usually takes like 2.5 hours, depending. So I'm very aware also that if I don't get this nailed down now, I'm gonna be in a different mindset when I come back from that, and I might be tired. It'll be time for my like second meditation of the day, so I'll probably have to do that first. And I'm also, yeah, I just like start to lose motivation on things sometimes. So, because I don't, I started this last night. I don't really like to have stuff sitting around for more than a couple of days, at most. So, yeah, I'm gonna just, I probably have 10, 20. I don't know. I could push it to 3 if I really wanted to. We'll see what happens, but it would be cool if I could get this done before I end the stream. Yeah. All right. So it's going to be, I think what I'm going to do is use that string patch for the first part, and then use the piano starting around where I stop, like when that hi-hat comes back in, is when I would switch to that piano sound that's a little bit more upfront and start doing the real soft stuff. I'm just hitting record on all these in case it like goes well. And it's just overdubbing over the two free tracks on it. So whatever's on there gets erased as I record and replaced with whatever I'm doing. I think that's going to be the combo that I play with. Those four notes, because everything else, that's not bad, but if it's like too, I don't want to soften it and give that like emotional release of that, having the B in that chord as opposed to not, or yeah, that's a little bit, I like having it a little bit more ambiguous, and then when the piano comes in, it's going to be the real like emotional part, kind of just like softens and like warms everything up. I think I'm gonna have to do this in a couple. It's gonna take me a couple of rounds to really get this going. So, like I need to. I'm not even gonna worry about the roads thing in that second half. I'm just gonna do the strings, and then once I have that down, I'll start on the next. I feel like I'm playing it I'm doing it too many times. I'm having a hard time figuring out where it like sits best in the measure. And I think also I have too much low end in it. So I'm going to turn that down a little bit. It's a little better. I'm actually going to even go over here and edit, even though it's probably going to be annoying because it's a DX, and just see if I can add some upper harmonics. So I'm going to first just check the frequencies of all these operators. And then the level. I kind of want to do like an FM synthesis tutorial, but that is not the subject of today's session. So I'm going to see if I turn up the volume of operator 2. Hey. And then even if I make it a little shorter attack, and turn the feedback down. Yeah, I kind of like it. Okay. Yeah, that's better. Maybe I'll even mess with that. All right, cool. Trying again. All right, I think I'm happy with what I did with the strings in that first part. And so that means I'm ready to roll it back to around where I ended that and start messing around with the keys. Just realized I'm not going to get the strings on playback unless I set up the tape cue situation. Should be working now. Just realized now the tape cue is playing back an earlier, my earlier piano take. Yeah, one day I'll explain all the Tascam shit too, because it's got a couple of weird features. This tape cue thing I keep referring to is basically a way to listen back to what you've already recorded on tape while using those input channels for something else. Because the Tascam is basically like simultaneously a 4-channel mixer and 4-track cassette recorder, and you can route the channels from the cassette through the mixer section, or you can use the tape cue. And if you use the tape cue, then that lets you use those mixer channels for a live input, which is what I'm doing right now. Yeah. So I'm gonna just make a note for myself mentally of where the string thing ends. Yeah. Actually, I think I'm gonna call it here because I don't want to be late. I want to get ready to go, eat something, and I don't really want to rush like the rest of this tune. Yeah, sweet. Thanks to anybody who locked in. Probably O'Shea and one other person. I know a few people came in throughout, but the people really sticking around. I appreciate everybody who tunes in to listen to some of this shit. But yeah, this is what it actually looks like when I make music for the most part. I move probably a little faster than this because I'm not explaining things when I'm normally doing it, but I felt like this is a pretty close glimpse of what happens. So I hope somebody found this useful. And it's sort of, in the same way that I do these, takes of this track over and over and over again, and just keep playing along to it. That's kind of the way I have learned to make music. and I've talked about this a little bit in various other places, like just doing it over and over again and like working quickly to finish stuff has taught me how to finish stuff well in a short amount of time. So basically, what I'm trying to get at here is that I'm going to probably go through the same learning process with studio sessions like this, where I kind of ease myself into talking about the process and demonstrating some things, because I really don't feel like sitting down and trying to like write or prepare from scratch some kind of like specific tutorial. That's going to come through doing this stuff like this, where it's a little bit more sparse with the information. That's kind of how I'm going to learn like what is useful for what it might be useful for me to talk about, what's useful for people to hear, and just get better at doing this kind of like talking to the camera thing. Yeah, so I appreciate everybody who's here for the very early stages, and I hope it is useful. Um, yeah, and I did this kind of with the Trackland label too, just like constantly. Like I released a bunch of stuff early on that was just like it was just kind of for fun, and it's still mostly for fun. But I, just through doing it over and over again, I've gotten better at like putting a release together, and that's why I'm like releasing so much stuff so quickly, because it just comes faster and faster when I've practiced it. So, yeah. Cool. I'm going to stop rambling and let everybody, I'm going to let O'Shea go about his day. Yeah. All right.